It's very delicious to act with beautiful men. Some of them are in the realm of fantasy. Al Pacino.
At 93, Angie Dickinson finally speaks up about Robert Redford. Angie Dickinson was born Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931, in Colum, North Dakota. Rose from humble beginnings in a small Midwestern town to become one of Hollywood's most glamorous and versatile leading ladies. Her early life was far from the spotlight. She was the daughter of Frederica and Leo Henry Brown, who were of German descent. Growing up during the Great Depression, Angie developed a strong work ethic and a determination that would later define her long and celebrated career. After moving with her family to Burbank, California, she attended Immaculate Heart College and later Glendale College, where her beauty, charm, and intelligence helped her stand out. Initially, she dreamed of becoming a writer or working behind the scenes, but fate drew her toward the world of entertainment. Her entry into acting came almost unexpectedly when she participated in a beauty pageant in the early 1950s and caught the attention of casting directors. With her stunning looks, smoky voice, and magnetic screen presence, she soon began landing small roles in television and film. Angie worked tirelessly during her early years, appearing in popular anthology TV shows and westerns. By the mid-1950s, she was working alongside some of Hollywood's biggest stars, which helped her gain both experience and confidence. Her breakout role came in Howard Hawks's Western classic Rio Bravo, 1959, where she starred opposite John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. Angie's portrayal of the tough yet tender saloon girl feathers made her a household name and proved that she could hold her own against some of the most dominant male stars of the era. Throughout the 1960s, Angie Dickinson became one of the most sought-after actresses in Hollywood. She had an innate ability to switch effortlessly between genres, starring in westerns, crime dramas, thrillers, and glamorous romances. Her performances were praised for their depth as she balanced elegance with emotional vulnerability. Some of her most memorable appearances included Ocean's 11, 1960 with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, and a series of high-profile thrillers and dramas that showcased her ability to bring sophistication and strength to the screen. Beyond her acting, Angie became an emblem of Hollywood style, gracing magazine covers and attending red carpet events that solidified her status as both a movie star and a fashion icon. The 1960s and 1970s marked the peak of Dickinson's career. She became a fixture in both movies and television, working with some of the biggest stars of the era. She appeared in films such as Ocean's 11, 1960, alongside Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, which introduced her to an entirely new audience and expanded her reputation as both glamorous and capable of holding her own among Hollywood's elite. Other notable roles included appearances in The Killers, 1964, Point Blank, 1967, and Big Bad Mama, 1974, where she displayed an adventurous and daring side, unafraid to take on roles that pushed boundaries for women. In film at the time, her versatility allowed her to seamlessly transition between genres, from westerns to crime dramas to comedies, while maintaining her unique screen presence. Her career reached new heights in the 1970s, when she took on the groundbreaking role of Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson in the hit television series Policewoman, 1974 to 1978. This role was revolutionary at the time, as it placed a female character in the traditionally male-dominated world of law enforcement dramas. Angie's portrayal of Pepper was both glamorous and tough, blending beauty with intelligence and courage, and it resonated deeply with audiences. The show not only earned her critical acclaim, but also paved the way for more female-led television series in the years that followed. For her performance, Dickinson received Golden Globe Awards and nominations, and she became a role model for many women who admired her strength and independence. Even after Policewoman, Angie continued to work steadily in television and film, proving her longevity in an industry that often favored younger stars. She appeared in acclaimed projects, such as Brian Dielma's Dress to Kill, 1980, where her role as a lonely housewife showcased her dramatic talents and ability to bring vulnerability to complex characters. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, she remained active in film and television, often choosing roles that challenged her and reflected her personal growth as both an actress and an individual. Angie Dickinson's personal life, much like her professional career, was rich with both triumphs and challenges that shaped her into the remarkable woman she became. Her first marriage was to Jean Dickinson, whom she wed in 1952. At the time, Jean was known as a talented college football player admired for his athleticism and discipline, qualities that reflected the all-American ideal of the 1950s. After leaving behind his athletic career, Jean eventually transitioned into the electronics business, a field that was beginning to expand rapidly in post-war America. The marriage lasted officially until 1960, though the couple had already separated in 1956. Despite the challenges in their relationship, Angie's connection with Jean played an important role in her early years as she was finding her footing in Hollywood. Interestingly, even after their divorce, she chose to retain his surname Dickinson, which became the name she carried throughout her career and by which she would ultimately be recognized worldwide. This decision not only signified continuity in her professional identity, but also gave her a certain distinction in Hollywood, where maintaining a recognizable name could have a significant impact on career longevity. During the years of her marriage to Jean Dickinson, Angie also developed deep and lasting friendships with some highly influential figures. Among them, the celebrated economist John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife Catherine. The Galbraiths were part of an intellectual and diplomatic circle that offered Angie a window into a world far removed from Hollywood. Through their friendship, she was introduced to stimulating conversations about politics, global economics, and culture, which broadened her horizons and allowed her to interact with people of extraordinary intellect and influence. When John Kenneth Galbraith was appointed U.S. ambassador to India by President John F. Kennedy, Angie visited the Galbraith abroad. Her visits and the time she spent touring with them during their posting in India made such a strong impression that they were recounted in Galbraith's memoirs, Ambassador's Journal, and A Life in Our Times. These references in his writings not only highlight the closeness of their friendship, but also testify to the unique place Angie held in the lives of powerful and cultured figures beyond the entertainment industry. In 1965, Angie Dickinson embarked on a new chapter in her personal life when she married the world-renowned composer and songwriter Burt Bacharach. Bacharach was already a towering figure in the music industry, celebrated for his sophisticated melodies and groundbreaking contributions to pop music. Together, they became one of the most glamorous couples of the era, blending Hollywood star power with musical genius. Their marriage lasted for 16 years, an impressive span by Hollywood standards, though it was not without its complexities. In the later years of their relationship, they endured a period of separation during which both explored other relationships while still maintaining a bond that ultimately brought them back together for a time. This reflected the complicated dynamics of two ambitious and creative individuals trying to balance personal life with demanding careers in the spotlight. A defining moment in their marriage came on July 12, 1966, when Angie gave birth to their only child, a daughter named Nikki. From an early age, Nikki faced significant challenges as she was diagnosed with autism at a time when the condition was far less understood or supported than it is today. Angie and Burt devoted themselves to caring for Nikki, adjusting their lives and careers to provide her with the love and attention she needed. Despite their dedication, Nikki's struggles were profound and lifelong. Tragically, on January 4, 2007, she died by suicide at the age of 40. Her loss was a devastating blow to both of her parents and left a lasting mark on Angie, who had always been an outspoken advocate for her daughter and had worked tirelessly to give her the best life possible under very difficult circumstances. Burt Bacharach himself lived a long and extraordinary life, continuing to compose, perform, and influence the world of music for decades after his marriage to Angie ended. He passed away in 2023 at the age of 94, closing the chapter on a life that had touched millions through music. For Angie Dickinson, her marriages to Jean Dickinson and Burt Bacharach, along with her role as a mother to Nikki, represent some of the most defining elements of her personal journey. Chapters filled with love, friendship, heartbreak, resilience, and the enduring grace with which she carried both her public and private struggles. At 93 years old, Angie Dickinson has lived through nearly a century of Hollywood's most dazzling highs and its darkest lows. And after decades of keeping her thoughts private, she has finally spoken out about Robert Redford following his passing. On September 16, 2025, Robert Redford, the legendary actor, director, and founder of the Sundance Film Festival, died peacefully in his sleep at his home in Sundance, Utah, at the age of 89. The news reverberated throughout the entertainment world, stirring memories of his extraordinary career and the profound impact he left on generations of audiences. For Angie Dickinson, however, the loss was personal in a way few people realized. She and Redford had crossed paths repeatedly over the years, both as colleagues in the business and as friends who admired one another from a respectful distance. When asked about her thoughts on Redford's passing, Dickinson took her time before responding, her voice steady but touched with the weight of memory. "Robert was one of those rare men in Hollywood," she said. "He was not only strikingly handsome, that part was obvious to everyone, but he also had integrity, which in this town is not always easy to find. He believed in doing things his own way, and he never let the studios or the press change who he really was." For Dickinson, who herself had fought for meaningful roles in an industry that often limited women to stereotypes, Redford's independence and refusal to conform set him apart from many of their peers. She recalled their early encounters in the 1960s when both were climbing towards stardom. "I remember seeing him when he was still this young, almost shy actor," Dickinson noted. "He wasn't the Robert Redford the whole world would later know, but even then he had that spark. You could feel it when he walked into a room. You just knew he was destined for something big." For Dickinson, who was already gaining recognition for her television and film work at the time, Redford's humility was refreshing. She emphasized that he never carried himself with arrogance, despite being aware of the attention his good looks and charm brought him. As she spoke, Dickinson did not shy away from acknowledging the unique challenges of being women in Hollywood at the same time as men like Redford. "I'll be honest," she admitted, "sometimes it was frustrating." Robert had opportunities that women just didn't get back then. He could be rugged, he could be romantic, he could be political, and he was taken seriously in every role. For women, the expectations were different, and we had to fight harder for respect. But to his credit, Robert always respected the women he worked with. He never treated us like decorations. He listened. That meant a lot. She also spoke warmly of Redford's activism and his work outside of acting, particularly with environmental causes and the Sundance Institute. Robert wasn't just about making movies. He wanted to change the world, even if just a little. Dickinson explained, "Sundance gave so many young filmmakers a chance when the big studios wouldn't even open the door for them. He nurtured talent, and that was his legacy just as much as any film he ever starred in." She paused for a moment before adding softly, "That generosity, that vision is something I'll always admire." When pressed about whether she and Redford had ever shared more than friendship, Dickinson gave one of her trademark half-smiles. "People always ask that," she said with a laugh. "Robert was the kind of man women adored, and I was no exception. But the truth is, we never had a romance. We respected each other. We enjoyed each other's company, but it was never that. And maybe that's why our connection lasted as long as it did. There was never any baggage between us." Still, Dickinson acknowledged the undeniable charm Redford carried throughout his life. "He had that combination of boyishness and strength that was irresistible," she reflected. Even in his later years, when his face was lined with experience, he had that twinkle in his eyes. He could make you feel like you were the only person in the room, and that's a gift very few people have. As for his death, Dickinson grew quiet, her words soft but filled with sincerity. "It breaks my heart to know he's gone, but I find comfort in knowing he left this world peacefully in the home he built with his own hands in Sundance. That was his sanctuary, and I think that's exactly how he would have wanted it." She went on to say, "I will miss him terribly, but I'll also carry with me the lessons of his life. That you can be successful and still be decent, that you can be famous and still be private, and that you can chase your dreams without forgetting where you came from." For Angie Dickinson, Robert Redford was more than a Hollywood legend. He was a friend, a role model, and a symbol of the kind of authenticity she always cherished. At 93, reflecting on a lifetime of memories and milestones, she concluded her remarks with one last thought. Robert was the real thing. They don't make them like him anymore.